Welcome to the Social Mission Revolution. Each week we explore some of the greatest undertold stories of businesses and everyday people who are making their ultimate impact on the world through social mission. This is Social Mission Revolution, and this is your host, Andrea Putting. Welcome to the Social Mission Revolution, and my guest today is Dr Arun, and he is a senior lecturer and a specialist upper Gastro-Intestinal and Bariatric surgeon who works in the public sector, but also a bit busy private practice in the northern eastern suburbs of Melbourne. Now that all sounds a bit heavy, but that's not necessarily what we're talking about today. But he does more than that because he's a yoga teacher, meditation teacher, and is very interested in working on the mind-body-gut connection. He's also a speaker and an author. So he's a very busy man, but I'm very thrilled to have him today with us to talk about more things than that. So welcome, Arun.
Thank you, Andrea, for the opportunity and the honor to share this conversation with your audience. You're doing an awesome job looking at your work with the interviews that you have put out, and the content is really amazing. So I congratulate you for that.
Oh, thank you. So I love to start with my question that I ask everybody. If there was just one thing for you to fight for, what would that be?
Well, clearly it would be, for me, health and healing. I don't call it health and wellness. I call it healing. And there is a reason for that. And there's probably a reason why I got into medicine and why I do what I do. See, all of us are here on a journey, and that journey is taking us to a destination. I firmly believe that. And I remember early on in med school, one of my very senior mentors who had a significant impact on my learning and my growth was, during those times. He said to me, and I still remember that, he said that extraordinary people do not have careers, they have a calling. Now, I didn't get it at that time. I didn't get it, and neither do I want to say that I've totally gotten it. But I know this is what excites me. This is what really makes me passionate. And if that's the one thing, it's about health and healing. And I'll explain that in a moment. See, health is really our true wealth. This is recognized by many, many generations of philosophers, wise men, and society at large. But the sad part of the story is that the first half of our lives, we compromise our health for money. All right. And then the second half of our lives, we want our health back for the money that we have earned, And it has been very beautifully said that man is living in the future or in the past, never in the present moment. And he has lived as if he's never going to die, and he dies as if he has never lived. So it's a really heavy thing, but the point is that health, if we just bring ourselves to the present moment, health is really our true wealth. If you and I are talking today, that's because we are healthy. We are we are healthy in our mind, body, and spirit. So that's my definition of health, and that's my one social mission.
Yes, it's very powerful, and I know how important that is because that's my background as well, not in medicine, in medicine, natural medicine. So that's very much about healing mind, body, and soul. It's very important that we're going to be at our best. We need to be at our best.
That's true. And in order to serve others, you need to be firstly in that state where you are not a dependent or you're not a liability on others.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the reasons I wanted to speak to you today, Arun, was because I was very interested in the fact that you also work very deeply with a charity cause. So I'd love to know a bit about that and why that's so important to you.
Yeah. So, see, some of the people who really made a significant impact on my life were people who are really doing something bigger than just to fulfill their own needs. One of my professors, Professor Hamish Ewing, a professor of surgery in Melbourne here, gifted me a card once, and it said that we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Winston Churchill's very famous quote, of course. But I think that card, it has been sitting on my desk for a long time, and I look at it every day, and it's so powerful because I realize that we are all going and fulfilling our needs. But it is really in giving that we receive. Now, when I looked into the research of this, I found that people who give selflessly, more importantly, people who give to strangers, enjoy the best cardiovascular health. Now, because I'm a medical practitioner, I like to quantify and I like to see what is the association. They studied volunteers working in hospitals and other organizations, and they found that they had the lowest rates of heart attacks. They had the lowest rates of significant instances associated with high blood pressure and all of that. And they've done these studies in several shapes and forms in different universities. One very interesting study, if I can very briefly mention, on the science of the benefits behind giving selflessly, is that they gave a bunch of these university students $20 to spend on something. All right. And then they brought them back after that experience and they measured their serum cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone. Guess what they found? The lowest stress hormone was for people who gave that $20 or bought something out of that $20 for a stranger. For a stranger.
Yes. Yeah.
So the point here is that giving selflessly is something that, to me, when I was going through, and we all go through our own life journey, sometimes it's the ebbs and the troughs of, your life journey, I realized that the quickest way to get happy is to make others happy. And that is what led to the birth of the Circle of Life Foundation, which is a foundation that I run. And my mission is education, because I believe if you want to change a man's life, educate him.
Yeah.
Education is the most powerful tool. I see my own life, thanks to mom and dad. They sent me to school. They were able to help me get into med school. And I am what I am today because of the education I received. And that, to me, became a passion. And I support underprivileged kids in Australia, India, and in Bali. So there are schools that we have affiliated with. And we like to, and all of that is there on my website as to who we have supported over the course, sponsored kids. And I say that even if it is a small number, no problems, get started. They're not big numbers that I have supported, but you know what? It is in the starting that was the most important thing for me.
Absolutely. And if you think about that, even if you've just helped one person to get an education, then what have they then been able to go on and do in the world?
Exactly.
And how many other people have they been able to help because you helped that one person to get an education? So we don't have to think of the great big picture all the time, because we can't, as individuals, help everybody. If we can help one person, we can change the world.
Absolutely, And I loved how, Mother Teresa put it. She actually, and she's done some amazing work with the lepers in India, as you would know. And she said that I realize whatever we are doing is just like a drop in the ocean, but the ocean would not be complete without that drop. So it was her quote. It was so beautiful and so profound. So I said, okay, I'm happy with just one person. I'll take it. And I'm just an instrument. Who am I to make a difference in someone's life? I'm just an instrument, and the universe is working through me.
Yes. So is there something that you find drives you in other areas in your life by having that?
Absolutely, and I think what it does is, Andrea, when we actually look at our own problems, when we are stuck in our own problems, and then you see the challenges that some of these kids are facing in underprivileged societies, you realize you're so fortunate. It brings a sense of gratitude for what you have been given. So I call it grace, that you have been graced with.
Yes.
So, especially in times when I found myself in a very low state, for whatever reason it may be, I feel when I shift my perspective from worrying about my own problems to saying, you know what, let me try and see what I can do for someone else.
Yeah.
That allows a shift in my own mental state, and you stop focusing on your own self so much. And the funny thing happens is that the universe then turns around and finds a solution to your problem. And I've found it time and time again.
Yeah, it does. And that's one thing that I've always felt. Maybe it's something I learned in naturopathic college. I have a feeling it was that when somebody is depressed, best thing to do is to start thinking about other people, because we become depressed. That was from personal experience over the past couple of years with so many lockdowns. Of course, there's been times when I've been really low, and it's just like, because I'm so buried in my own stuff.
Yeah.
If I start thinking about somebody else and start reaching out to other people, then that just shifts the whole thing. And something that I have talked about previously is another time when I found myself in a depression. What really got me out of that is to get involved in community and start volunteering, and then I got addicted to volunteering because it's
There you go. There you go.
It makes you feel good. It's doing something for somebody else does make you feel good.
Exactly. In fact, my go-to was during lockdown, as you probably might have known, that even elective surgery got stopped last year. There was no elective surgery happening. And what can a surgeon do if there is no elective surgery happening? Well, I started my YouTube channel. So I started making YouTube videos just to educate people. I said, this is my service. I'm a teacher, I'm a lecturer, I've got all this knowledge. What do I do? So I took some help from my son, from a couple of other friends and all that. And they said, just start producing videos. And today I've got about 8,000 subscribers to the channel. So, I've just continued that thing in the mode of service.
Yes. And that's often the ways that we do things out of service rather than financially. Then it has the flow-on effect, but most importantly, it gives us a sense of fulfillment that we've done something that's worthwhile.
Absolutely.
In the world.
Absolutely.
Yes. But how do you integrate this into your professional world? How do you integrate your charity work into your medical work?
Into my medical world, yeah. So look, I often say to my patients, I'm the odd one, all right? And they somehow love the transparency. Some people look at me in a weird way and all that. But there comes a point in your life journey where you are speaking your own voice and you are no longer seeking the validation from other people to tell you that what you are saying is okay, is acceptable. Yeah. And this was my own sort of, learning, because many years ago, I would strongly believe in the power of meditation, for example. And when it came to health and well-being, I would see that people's, their own stressful emotional states was the reason why they were getting problems for which they were coming to me for procedures. For example, significant gastroesophageal reflux disease called heartburn has got its roots in significant stressful states, smoking, and all of that. We know that. Yeah. So I would say to them that you want better healing, you want better reflux control. Well, first stop hurting yourself. I would be very reluctant to talk about meditation and mindfulness because people would think, oh, he probably doesn't know his craft. That's why he's talking about meditation. So I was kind of putting this onto myself. But then there came a point where, I said, no, I have to speak my voice. And, I have realized this is the feedback that I hear time and time again from people, that they love the holistic, integrated approach to health and well-being. Yes, they come to me for surgery, and that's what I do as a service because that's what I've been trained in. But I tell them the real benefit comes when you actually incorporate the mind with the body and have this multi-pronged approach. And I've got programs and I go through with them about resources that are available that they can start to incorporate slowly. So in answer to your question, how do I incorporate the charity work? Well, look, to be honest, that is my personal passion. If people want to look at it, I don't promote it with my patients in a professional sense. No. Okay. There is a page on my website that a percentage of our earnings goes towards the charity. And that's how I wish to keep it. If anybody is really passionate about it, there were a few people who saw the work and they said, look, we want to contribute something. Sure, it's entirely up to you. So I try to keep that distinction.
Yes. Do you find that your patients are often interested in that though, after they've looked at your website?
I think they are. People are generally smart and well informed. And there is nothing that you can hide from the public eye this day. You can get as much information about me as much as I can about anybody else.
Yeah.
All right. There's no such thing as privacy, I often say now,
No.
So the point I'm trying to make is that, look, people get to know about the work that the individual is doing if they are genuinely interested. Mm-hmm. I don't actively promote the charity as such. Yes, I do mention about it in my workshops, in my books and other places, or if it is a pertinent YouTube video that I have created for a certain purpose.
Yes. And I like that. Because there's different ways of working with it. Some other businesses are very much promoting the charity work that they go with, and it's all okay.
Yeah, we have a plan of making a collage in our office. So one wall, it's called the Wall of Charity. And that's what we are putting. Any kids that we are sponsoring, whether it is in India, Australia, Bali, we're just putting their photos out there.
Yeah. And I also think that it's a nice way to make people just think about what they're doing in the world. Exactly. Is there something more that they can be doing? Can they support someone somewhere and do something that is of great value?
Exactly. Either you can do it yourself, and we have done this. We have joined hands with the Smith's Family Trust in Australia because they give books to kindergarten kids. So last Christmas, that's what we did. Yes. We supported them. This Christmas, we have similar plans. So either you can do it yourself, or you can do it through another organization that is involved with a similar mission to yours. And we've done both. And that's how we'll continue to do.
Yeah. And that's where I bring out why I use this question at the beginning of every podcast, is for people to think about, well, what is it that's really important to them? What is it that I would fight for? Because that gives you clues into something where you can take your social mission. And it's very important for people to also realise that a social mission isn't only giving money. Sometimes it's completely voluntary, it's service, it's time, it's all these different things. So it's really important also for people to recognise that whoever they are, wherever they are, they can do something that can help other people.
Absolutely. And what I think I have picked up on this whole journey of seeing people, Andrea, is you can serve somebody with your body, with your physical abilities, even with your mind. If you can't do it, just send somebody love.
Yes.
Our thought waves are really, really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And money. Whichever way you feel, you can send some good wishes to someone. That is charity work in my estimation, in my sort of current level of ignorance. That's how I look at it.
Yes. And it could just be somebody who writes beautiful, positive messages and puts them on Facebook.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
that could be someone's social mission if that's their talent and that's their desire.
Absolutely. And I think everything that we do, if we did everything that we did in a day with a view that does this bring joy to someone else or not, if you did every activity that way, I think we would be living completely different lives.
Very true. It's very true to get up in the morning and think about how can I serve today? How
Mm,
can I make a difference in somebody's life? It's a
mm,
really interesting thing to think about regularly. I try to think about this all the time at the moment. It's like, well, how can I be useful in the world?
yeah,
How
yeah.
can I be of service to someone? And some days we just don't click, but other days just something happens that we're able to go, just step in because we're ready to do that.
Yeah. And I think if I can share with your listeners one practical thing that I have used and I've talked about it is that for the first 1 hour, when you get up in the morning, don't touch your phone, because the phone actually reminds you of who you are and what all things you lack. I've seen a lot of people before they go to bed, they're going to be on their phone checking their social media, all right, and look at this friend, they're holidaying here, and look at that person, they've got their new car, everybody's putting it on Facebook. And then when they get up in the morning, they look at it, sleeping, they look at their social posts and feeling bad. That's how they sleep. And then they get up in the morning and I believe me, since I stopped doing that, I actually put my phone about at least 6 feet away, because sometimes I get phone calls from the hospitals at night,
You
so I
would.
have to be around my phone. But if I had my way, if I was not in the profession, I would keep my phone in a totally different room for a variety of reasons, because the phone, I believe, it reminds you who you are, what your problems are, and it's so easy to forget that we can get up as a different being. And ever since I started doing that, Andrea, I think I really sort of choose not to go to technology for the first 1 to 1.5 hours in the morning. In fact, on the table where I'm sitting, I always do a journal, a page in the morning of gratitude before I actually get to pick up my phone. That's like my sort of
Yeah.
go-to for getting your phone. You have to first write that page of gratitude in your journal.
It's a can't touch
Self-inflicted pain.
it. Yeah, and you shouldn't look at your phone for an hour before you go to bed. I'll be on very strict instructions from my doctor.
Yeah. Well,
Don't
there are a
look
lot
at
of
the phone
scientific
for an
reasons as
hour
well.
before you go to bed.
It emits the blue light, which mucks up your
Yes,
melatonin hormone secretion.
yes. So it's kind of like, oh, what am I going to do for an hour?
Yeah, yeah.
Go to
Well, read a
bed.
book.
Yeah, then I fall asleep before I.
Yes, before you turn the page.
Yes,
Yeah,
but it certainly does. It makes a difference because you're not thinking about something you've looked at your phone.
yeah,
You're thinking about nice thing. Well, it depends on what you've done in that last hour.
yeah,
Listen to something spiritual. So that's what I go to sleep with. It's much better for me.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
So if you have some advice for anybody
Yes.
about getting involved in social mission, in opening up their thinking
Mm,
about giving, what would it be?
yeah. So I guess the first thing I strongly believe that the precursor to any experience is an awareness of it. Developing an awareness of, do I really have a social mission or not? Is there a purpose? What you say social mission to me is really like your life purpose.
Yes.
What do you stand for? And I think in many ways, what you stand for is going to be guided and determined by what are your values. Because values are something that actually define us, you know. For me, it's integrity. For me, it is service. And I get a joy in service. Like, yes, there would be somebody, for them, it could be music, or it could be, relationships, whatever. You have to find what is it that means to you and that defines you as a person who you are. And then, and this is, I kind of, really am passionate about this exercise because I put it down in my book recently. What I talk about is not just taking action, but taking inspired action. And inspired action comes from inspiration. Inspiration is really a shortened word of inspired action. And what I mean by that is action that is not driven in the sense that, what am I going to get out of it? But actually, you are truly inspired to take that action. Now, honestly, I was not in that state for a significant part of my life. But then life gives you a blow. Something comes, a problem comes up, an issue comes up. And that really is a gift that is wrapped up in a sandpaper. It is hard, that challenge, and sometimes we learn through challenges. Sometimes we learn through, uplifting events in our lives. But that learning is then, when you learn that lesson, that's when it remains and it creates a significant imprint. So in answer to your question, what advice do I have? I can only talk about what I have learned on my own journey. And I truly believe that we all have a gift that is so unique to us. I took time to find that. I thought I was just an ordinary doctor. And I still feel that way, that, we are all ordinary people, but we have extraordinary gifts that are hidden. Our duty is to bring that gift to the service of others. And I think that's where the most important thing comes, that you take this blend of, the person that you are. It's like a Venn diagram, the person that you are, what skill sets you have. Okay, you might have a unique skill set. It's about finding what is my skill set and then finding who can you help with that. So it's that intersection of that gives you joy. And I put one more thing in it, which is really what also supports you financially. Because see, at the end of the day, you can do charity, but you can only do charity if your financial needs are taken care of.
True.
As Abraham Lincoln said, you can't help the poor by being one of them.
No, you can't.
You can't help the sick by being sick with them.
Nope.
You have to be healthy to help the sick.
You do.
So that's where I say that, take inspired action, tap into that inner resource of inspiration that is there, because your heart knows what actually creates that passion in you. Your heart knows that.
Yes.
You have to tap into that well of knowledge. And that comes with meditation.
It does. Certainly helps with meditation to find that purpose and find that passion, to explore it.
Absolutely, because that creates stillness. And when you're still, you start to see things more clearly.
Absolutely. We stop the world from
exactly
looking at you.
Absolutely.
Yes. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about what you do or your charity?
Yeah, so they're welcome to find me on my website, drarundhir.com. I'm on social media, YouTube, whichever way they can find me. If there is some professional sort of work around my, weight management and GI health, then it's centerforweightloss.com.au.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today, Arun. I really appreciate it. And I'm very thrilled that I've been able to spend some time with you today.
Thank you kindly, Andrea. And you're doing some amazing work. Keep going.
Thank you. And that's all I have today for the Social Mission Revolution. And we're back next time with another Social Mission Revolution.
This has been the Social Mission Revolution with Andrea Putting. Join me again next week when we'll speak to another social mission revolutionist who will inspire you on your journey to making your ultimate impact on the world.